Hello, welcome. This is Amy, the Mystic Rose Tarot. Happy 2021. It's been a while since I've set up something on YouTube, and I'm here to go into the second part of our Decan for the month of Capricorn. Capricorn's going to be winding up on January 19th. So right now we're in the mid-month of Capricorn. And I do this every 10 days or so. I share insights with 2 to 3 different decks evolving or revolving around a particular deck as a guide to how that particular decan, and a decan represents 10 days, it's a time period, and there are tarot cards that are assigned to each decan. And within those tarot cards, they're primarily the minor arcana. There are planetary associations related to that card. So I've been focusing on this in recent months to draw in the energy of astrology and breaking it down through the tarot, interpreting this through the major and minor arcana and the influences that the planets and the signs have in relation to those cards. It's been a wonderful journey, and I'm really excited that I'm following this path because it makes sense to me, and I'm always learning. So we're going to get right into it. And as I mentioned, we are in the second part of our decan for the month of Capricorn. So we're right mid-month. Even though we're at the beginning of January, the astrological month began on December 21st during the winter solstice, and it breaks up into different decans. So there's going to be 3 decans for each astrological month. So we go 0 to 10. Our previous time period was December 22nd for January 1st. And that was represented by Saturn in Capricorn. And the card that represented that decan was Discipline. And I'll explain this because I don't want to backtrack too much, because I do have the previous videos that you can look at and kind of follow through with your own tarot decks to see what you interpret from the cards that you get. Even though they're the same suits, because this is the month of the Pentacles, each deck represents a different kind of energy. So this is my insight that I get with these particular decks that I work with, and I try to change it up during each decan. But if I feel a calling to work with some specific decks, I will stick to that, because the energy feels very relative to what I want to do for my reading. So, I mentioned our first decan represented the first week of Capricorn, Discipline, which is a natural trait for Capricorns. Capricorn's planet is Saturn. Saturn is a planet that is very contracting. It's very restrictive, boundaries, limitations, disciplines, putting things in order. And that's very important for Capricorns. So for this week, we are in the second decan from January 2nd. I'm a few days late because of the holidays. From January 2nd to January 11th. And I always work with the Unified Esoteric Tarot for now as my guide, and for me to learn more about this deck. So this is what we have here. And for this week, for our second decan, we are being represented by the energy of protection. And we have here the influence of the planet Earth, its elements, Earth, in the sign of Capricorn. And then the card that is of influence for this decan is the 3 of discs, or 3 of coins, or 3 of pentacles. And so what I want to discuss a little bit is just a breakdown of what the 3 of discs, 3 of pentacles, coins are all about. And I will give a brief explanation, and then I will show you the 2 cards I'm going to be working with to kind of give a different perspective of how the 3 of Pentacles can relate in different decks. So let me give a backdrop about the Three of Pentacles, and then I'll give the interpretation of the Unified Esoteric Tarot with the keyword of protection. So the three of Pentacles, when you get a lot of pentacles in a reading, it's a sign. It's a very good sign. It's a sign that deals with material goods, security, prosperity, abundance. And this can also, in turn, relate to your own self. It could be your spiritual self, things that you are bringing into your life that's enriching you and making you feel inspired in that sense. So basically, the Three of Pentacles is all about structure and form. We're starting to see the direction looming of what you had planned to start working on during this transition, whether it's an idea, a project that you're working on, concept. We're starting to see it take shape with the Three of Pentacles. So we're starting to see the structure of it, the forming. We're starting to see growth. So everything that you've been doing, if we focus primarily on the Pentacles, the first two cards, we're seeing that energy. You've been making right choices. You've been staying on your path. You've been dedicated. And in turn, with all that hard work, we're starting to see results. We're starting to see signs. It's also a card, the Three of Pentacles is a card that we see where it's good to start bringing in other people into your journey, into your concept, into your goals, to help reinforce what you're trying to set forth. And by surrounding yourself with people who really believe in what you're doing, what you're creating, they can put in their own expertise, their own knowledge, their own experience, and to maybe further shape this project in something that could grow even more. And that's the whole journey of the Pentacles. We start seeing growth. There's going to be a moment of fallback. And then during that temporary lapse, it's a time of reflection, but then we heal from it. We move on and we continue making better choices, and we start seeing the growth and we start seeing the success. So with the Three of Pentacles, it's all about shaping what's already taking place. We're starting to see the growth. We're starting to manicure it. We're starting to nurture it. And in this sense, it's representing how much hard work you're putting into it, the skills that you're applying, and also the value, how much you're showing of care and the time that you're putting into it. And, how much effort is being put into this thing that you are so fond of, that you're so desired to build into something very nice. So this is the progress with the Three of Pentacles, where the seed has been planted, and we're starting to see the results. And here's a good example. I'm going to go right into the cards here for the Three of Pentacles. This is from the Lumina Tarot. We start seeing the seed, and if you look at a potted plant and you take it out of its pot, you see the bulb. There's no roots yet. There's no roots growing here, but we're starting to see the growth. There has been care. There's been hard work. You've been keeping careful eye over this. Anything that needs to be eliminated or added on to it, you have been doing it correctly, and we're starting to see the results. And we're starting to see here the triangle. The triangle represents the balance of the energy that's being put into this. We're starting to see it here from above. We're seeing it from below as well. Here we're starting to see the foundation. We're starting to see the reinforcement between these two pentacles, the stability that's going in here, and the energy that's being moving up to produce this growth, and the energy going down. It's a triangular cycle, if you will, but it's a good one. And what I enjoy here is seeing the triangle, and we're seeing the interlocking circles of the constant movement. So here the triangle's forming the boundaries, not the boundaries. It's forming the stability, the reinforcement, And the circles here are creating that energy to make the stability strong. And we start seeing the beauty starting to emerge. We're starting to see this beautiful flower starting to take shape. So we go like from the embryonic stage, and then by putting the care into it and nourishing it, we start seeing the growth. And this is the development of something that we really care about. We desire so much to make the best out of this one particular item, concept, goal. And we're starting to see the results. And when we start seeing that, we start getting inspired. And that excitement causes us to want to put more into it. You know, when you're getting positive results of something that you're building or creating, there's that excitement. It's like, wow, you're seeing it flourish right in front of you. And then you want to take it to the next level. And again, the next level can come from outside sources, people who are supporting you. They can either physically help you, emotionally help you, spiritually help you to continue on the path that you're going, to get more understanding, more clarity as to what's going to happen. And so we're seeing the positive results from this. So let's just keep going in that direction and surround ourselves with the reinforcement of other people who really want to see the best outcome from this. So this is with the 3 Pentacles from the Lumina Tarot. Let's go back to the Unified Esoteric Tarot. So we have here protection, and we have, I'm going to focus more on the element, Earth and Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. Capricorn is the initiator of the season for winter. So winter can be a little confusing for people because winter can be that time where you want to be indoors. It's more of a introspective time, but this is actually the time during the season, the winter months, with Capricorn and then being the initiating sign of the season, to actually start looking ahead. Let's start planning. We're in the new year already, so let's start putting structure. Let's start writing things down. What do you want to do? You know, there's all the resolutions that people tend to do, and I don't do resolutions because things happen, and if you don't do it by a certain time, for some, you may feel self-defeated. I don't think it's good to set a time. I think what's really important is not so much the time, is more or less keeping that direction, keeping focus, having that self-discipline to stay on what you really strongly believe in and what you want to bring up. So with here, when you think about Earth, you think about grounding, you think about a firm foundation, there's stability, and it gives you a security. I would probably change the word from protection to security, but I think security is in another part of this deck for the Decans. But you feel protected. You feel like you have that grounding. You feel like you're secure. And so with this, for protection, this sets the environment for anyone who is a Capricorn or any of the earth signs. You feel like you are surrounded with the environment that is safe, that you can focus and do what you need to do without any distractions. And that's very, very important when you're working on a project. You want to be surrounded, again, with good energy, things that will reinforce, things that will inspire, and things that will activate what you need to do, body, mind, and soul, to get to your goal, to accomplish and set forth your ideas, your concept. And so it's really important to be in that kind of environment. Don't be in an environment that's chaotic, that's very distractive, you need to have your own space. And therefore, you have your protective shell, if you will, to work in and to work out from. Also, Earth is comprised of the three other elements. We have fire, air, and water. Those energies are very influential for Earth and how it grows, how it nurtures. It needs all those energies. It needs all of those different forms of energy to nourish and to activate what you want to do. Air energy, oxygen for thinking, for thoughts. Fire, that action, that activity, the drive to work towards what you want to do. And then we have water. And water is very nurturing. It's very emotionally, it helps us, it soothes us. It can also aggravate us, depending on the temperature. So all those aspects work with Earth. They activate, they motivate, and they get the intuitive side of Earth signs to work in a different way. Also, what's important is within these elements, including Earth, we see practicality, focused movement, and also the influence of material and spiritual well-being. And this will give us the backdrop for our own personal and spiritual well-being. And if we don't have these elements, if we don't have the balance of fire, air, water, being in a protective environment, we can actually lose direction. We can feel like we're missing one of those elements and we're not complete, and it makes it very difficult to remain on that path, to remain disciplined, to remain focusing, could fall out of that structure, the routine that you work so hard to build. And so be very careful when you work towards a certain goal, something that you feel strongly impassioned to, because you don't have any distractions whatsoever. When I do any kind of work, whether it's creative, my spiritual practice, I need to have almost complete silence. If you've watched some of my videos in the past, I tend to have some ambient ethereal music in the background, and that sets the tone for me, and that helps. And again, like I was saying, protection, I feel like I have all the elements that I need, my tools, to set the environment for me to continue working on. So a different interpretation of protection, but protection is by using the influences of all those elements to enhance that stability that you need to work on those goals. And also we have to watch for karmic action, anything that if we go off the path of what we're working on, it can come back down the line. You may fall and then you get back, but you have to be very careful of the choices that you make going into completing your goals. Okay, the next card and final card, deck that I've been working with for about the last 1 or 2 months is the Tarot of the Holy Light. The Tarot of the Holy Light is a very esoteric deck. It brings in elements of alchemy, astrology, hermeticism, influences of Tree of Life. But here the focus here is for the three of discs is the internal process. So as I mentioned, we're seeing the actions from the Lumina Tarot's 3 of Pentacles, what we're putting into it, the sources of inspiration, how we're nourishing, how we're carrying, how we're working hard for getting those concepts and goals going. Here is the internal process. This is what's going on before and maybe during during the time that we are creating our goals. This is the internal side of the Three of Pentacles. And what I mean by this is we're seeing an amalgamation. That's a word that I'm really liking the more that I look at it and understand its meaning. Amalgamation means the joining of energy, of forces, of beliefs, opposing beliefs, opposing energies. And here, this is the mind and the heart at work. And we're starting to see the intensity that's building, the drive, the excitement to creating a masterpiece of work, but also dealing, as I mentioned, having that protective environment. We're going to have, it's going to happen. We're going to have something come up and it may pull us away or try to, steer us in a different direction of where we want to go. Focuses on creating that balance. And throughout the Tarot of the Holy Light, I'm going to put it this way, you will see different positions, different illustrations of the sun and the moon. They'll be in different positions. The sun here is at the base, and here we have the moon at top. But here it's a joining of these two energies. Because whenever you're working on a project, your heart's into it, especially if it's something that is on the creative side, you're very excited about it. And the emotions can get stirred. And the sun is also that vitality, that energy, the movement of going to this realm of creating what we enjoy so much. But it's the joining in between. It's how we approach the process. And what we have to do here with the Tarot of the Holy Light, the Three of Discs, is we have to maintain a harmonious unity of our feelings and thoughts. We can't put too much of the feelings into it and then we lose our thoughts. We can't put too much thinking into it, too much thought into it, and focus more on the emotions. Every artist, every creator is different. They'll have their own process. But again, this is just for this card, the Three of Discs. It's telling us to create that balance. It's not put too much of one, and leave less of the other, and vice versa. And by creating this balance, the creator, the person who is working on this goal, on this project, can fully express, when you have the balance between the mind and the heart, can fully express clearly, almost naturally, the final results of their work. And in doing so, you did this without any outside influences. You were able to maintain that discipline. You were able to maintain that focus, self-mastery of what is being manifested. It's what's being created. And it's that intuitive connectedness, it's following more than our heart, but there's that spiritual guide. I want to focus a little bit more on this, the spiritual energy that goes between these two realms. By reaching that point and having that aha moment, you have achieved what you have wanted to do in continuing the creative process of what you're working with. I think as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about Alex Gray. Alex Gray is an artist, extreme master in his work. And when you look at the work and the energy, the kinetic energy that's in it, I feel this card is a wonderful guide of the process that he goes through when he is creating a piece of work. It's coming from the heart. It's coming from the mind. You put those two together, the amalgamation, and you get the spirit. You start seeing the spirit of that work shining through. So when you look at Alex Gray's works, or anyone who has that kind of influence with that kinetic energy, that bright colors and chakra root or chakra energy in images. That's what I feel with Alex Gray. I see the spirit and I feel the energy, and we start seeing the mastermind of this person, that mastermind influence coming out on the canvas, coming out in the photo, coming out in words and books. And it's that intuitive connectedness, I'm going to go back to that word, of that process, and it becomes an influence, it becomes an inspiration for others. You see artists' work, they have a certain style and there's a certain energy, you can't really pinpoint it, but it moves you. And I think that's a sign of someone who is a true creative, and they're able to put their work out and get people excited, to get people to move, to get someone to do something, to feel, and in turn, by encompassing all of that, that spirit comes out, that spirited energy, and we see it in the work, and we also see it in the person who's creating it, because it feels right, it's natural, it makes sense to them, and it's their livelihood, it's every aspect of who they are, so when someone points to their work, it's like, that's me, that's the artist, and there's various forms of art out there that people think, wow, that's especially abstract art. Abstract art is a very psychological form of expression, creative expression, because you'll see colors, you'll see shapes, you'll see lines, and it doesn't make sense, but there's something going on within the person that was creating it. And you look at the title, and sometimes when it's untitled, it becomes even more of an adventure, because the person is looking at this, and even though it's created by someone else, they're going to get a different perspective from it. And yet it's inspiring, it's causing that movement. It's when you look at a card, what do you see? Put 5 people in a room and they're going to probably see something, well, not probably, they will see something different. They will interpret the energy that they see in this card is different. I see structure clearly here with the support of the triangles, but also the circle. The circle is internal, it's constantly moving, it's the energy, it's the inspiration that's putting this creation and putting it into a structured form. We're starting to see its shape, we're starting to see its manifestation. So it's very interesting too, also being an artist, and you go to art shows, and you hear people in the distance, talk about people's work, and everyone's going to see it differently. So with the 3 of Pentacles during the 2nd Decan for the month of Capricorn, from January 2nd to 11th, use the 3 of Pentacles. If there's something that you are working on, again, it could be spiritually inspiring. It could be a physical project. It could be you that you're working on, and you're starting to see things take shape. You're starting to see results from it. Continue on that direction, on that path. You're doing the right thing. You're starting to see results that you are feeling good about, and then of course that enhances, that makes you feel more confident. It also gives you the strength and the confidence to continue on. But it also gives you that stable foundation. And by having that, we start getting the structure. We start becoming more focused on our plans. We start putting even more hard work into what we're building. Okay, and again, put yourself in a protective environment. Surround yourself by music, people, things that will support you and inspire you to continue moving towards a successful outcome. And the key for that, again, is the heart and mind. Make sure that is in balance. Make sure that is in harmony. So heart and the mind like-minded in what you're doing. Does your heart say, yes, I like this, but your mind's pulling you a different direction? Or your mind's like, this is brilliant, let's do it, but your heart's kind of like, nah. If you're having those conflicts, you have to take a moment and stop, because if you continue working on a project and you have, again, like I said, one aspect that's not really feeling it, but the other one is, I mean, it's fine. You're going to probably get more of the influence of what you're feeling, like more of the heart. You may get a piece, you may be a little bit more emotionally involved in it. But if you get that balance, like I was saying with Alex Gray, you see the expertise, the mastermind, the visionary, exploding all of those aspects into one form and creating a wonderful piece of work. So go into your projects feeling like you have that balance, like my heart feels good about this and the direction that I want to go, the ideas, the plans I put into it, they feel right on. Keep going with that. And again, be careful for anyone outside resources who doesn't feel inspired by it. You don't want to be around that. And sometimes artists, anyone, when they're working on a project, they don't bring anyone in because of that concern or that fear that someone, you're halfway into your project and they come in like, I don't think this is going to work. Go with your intuition. It's so important. Follow your heart and your mind will follow as well. So that is the overview for our second decan. And take what I've been saying, look at the cards, the 3 of Pentacles for this week, January 2nd to the 11th, as guidance. Now, if you're not working on a particular project and you feel you need structure and more structure, more discipline, find that stable foundation to start working from. Let's find the merging between the heart and the mind. And here again, we have the circles, the movement, a different interpretation. And then we have the earth right behind it. I believe that's the earth. There's so much energy and so much visuals going on this card. Immediately I saw earth here, but it could actually be a lake or a body of water. And also very, very quickly we have harmony here. So have a wonderful week. I will be back January 12th and 12th or 13th, give or take, of my timing of doing other work, but I will do that within those 2 days. And we will, I will be winding down with you the last decan for Capricorn. And that'll be 20 to 30 degrees, and we will be talking about the 4 of discs. So if you want to take a look at the journey of the Pentacles right now, since we are working with the energy of Capricorn, go back and look. You can look at the videos as well, the 0 to 10, 10 to 20, where we are right now. And start seeing patterns, start seeing how the last week and this week have merged with the Ace of Pentacles, the 2 of Pentacles. I'm sorry, the 2 of Pentacles and the 3 of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles, I want to back up a little bit since I let that slip. The Ace of Pentacles represents the beginning of a new season, and that is for the season of winter. So as I mentioned, winter is a time to start planning, getting ready for our spring season. The fall season is a time where we start slowing things down. We start being introspective. We start looking at things that have taken shape from the previous season. So it's a time of, that's the season that you really start looking into things. And winter, you can refine that energy from what you've learned from the previous season, like fall, looking back into summer. Now in the winter months, anything that you've learned from, anything that you want to change,
Start putting it out. You don't take it into action yet. That's spring. Spring is just that, you know, we're now in the waning stage. We're starting to get more light. Or I'm sorry, waxing stage. We're starting to get more light. Fall was the season of waning. We're getting less light right from the equinox to the winter solstice. Winter solstice, we're getting more light. So we're waxing. We're starting to build up that energy, even though it's cold and it's dark still earlier. We are gaining light. So let's use the energy as light's gaining and emphasize it into what we want to build and change within us. Alrighty. Thank you for watching. I will be back again from the 12th of January, 12th or 13th for the final Decan of Capricorn. Any questions, of course, feel free to leave comments. I have a Patreon account. I have the information in the description. You can follow me on Instagram. I have a website, which is all linked in the description. And I'm also offering, and I will be doing this, I've been trying to get to it, but it's been because of the holidays and the seasonal celebrations. I will be doing a specific video for the Wheel of the Year. And I have 2 versions of the Wheel of the Year. I have a special on my website if you're interested in that. The Wheel of the Year, the 2 versions I have will showcase the next 12 months of this year, January to December. And it's a sign where it's a reading that I do where I focus on the sign for each astrological month and how it's going to give a general overview of each month. So I have more information on that on my website. And then I have the Witch's Wheel of the Year where I work with the seasons. And there are 4 seasons, and then within those seasons there are different celebrations that take place. And that's a reading for someone who has more of a Wiccan practice or pagan practice, and they follow the changing of the seasons, the energies that are involved in it. So I have a specific reading for that. So I'm trying to figure out which Wheel of the Year reading I'm going to do, an astrological one or the seasonal one involving with Wiccan and pagan influences. So I will set that out and put it out there for the universe, and it'll guide me. So I'm hoping to do that between now and next weekend. So I have more stuff that's happening. I don't want to make this video too overwhelming. Just look for my posts, notifications that I have for upcoming videos for this week. Have a wonderful week. Happy New Year, everyone. Blessings to each and every one of you who are watching this. And again, this is our Decan reading. We're in the mid-month of Capricorn. 3 of Pentacles is the card of guidance for this. And the planet of influence is the one that we're living in, Earth. Use those elements, fire, air, water, to encourage you while you are on your journey. Have a wonderful evening, morning. Thank you for watching.